Good morning. Good morning, everyone. What a gorgeous day. It's very still. Feels very quiet. Good morning, Francis. Hope you're well. Looking forward to you being live with me at some point over the next week. Morning, Mags. Hope you are well. Right, there's the waterfall. Isn't it gorgeous? Right. Look at that. That's the Clyde. Let's follow the Clyde. Little Ralph running around. One last wee look at the waterfall before I go. Right. Good morning. Wednesday. I was thinking there, on my way round, I was thinking we went into lockdown the 23rd of March, so that's us well over a month. That's us over a month in lockdown. So we're over a month in lockdown. Good morning, everyone. Let's get started. So we are following the 12. We are on step 10 of this programme, which is, so yesterday you found your treasure, right? Yesterday you found that place of peace, that place of acceptance, that place of understanding, right? Now, what we then do is, this is what is the journey home, if you like, homecoming. And now, at first, we refused to come back. Now, giving you an example, going on, giving you a little bit more about yesterday. So, keeping it simple, the treasure that you may have received could have came from a vacation, right? So think about it, like, speed these processes up, right? We decide to go on holiday, we book the holiday, right? How many of you, if you're like me, the morning of going, you've still not finished work, you've still got paperwork and emails to do, you're saying, oh, I could see this holiday far enough. And then there's a drama, like you can't find your passport, or the taxi to pick you up at the airport doesn't come, or you've not took the paperwork for the parking space that you've got. And it just becomes a challenge, right? You get on the plane, you arrive at the place, and you're still identified with back home. You're still identified with home. And then you're not really enjoying it. There's a bit of gripes about the hotel, or a bit of gripes about this, or a bit of gripes about that. And then sometimes what we do is we meet somebody that's been there for 2 or 3 weeks, or they live there, and they give you a couple of recommendations, and they say, oh, that hotel down there's nice, and that's a nicer beach, or this, that, and the next thing, right? So that's meeting the mentor. And then we get into the swing of the holiday. So if we're away for 2 weeks, it takes us about a week to get into it. And then we're in the last week. Oh, and by this time we've let go of UK, we've let go of our home. We're enjoying the holiday, we're revelling in the holiday, the vacation. And then we're starting to get ready to come back, and we don't want to come back. We don't want to return, right? Okay, so what you've then received while being on that vacation is you've managed to let go. You've got a feeling of peace. You're re-energised, you're sleeping better, you're looking better, you're charged with vitamin D, etc, 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 right? Or you go on an adventure holiday where you go to, for an example, get to Everest Base Camp. So there's all this planning and getting it sorted out, because that's not just a wee 2-week vacation to Tenerife, right? So you get to Everest Base Camp, you're going through these struggles, these trials, these tribulations, these roads to trials within yourself, you're testing yourself, you feel like giving up, you're burning through it, you get through it. There's another half a dozen people doing it with you, you're all connecting, you've made good connections, you feel closer to these people that you've met on this challenging journey than you do to your family or friends. And then you get to the top of Everest, you get to there, and you've received this, I've done it, right? I've got it. So I'm giving you some examples before we move into the next one. Now, here, the next one could be in the fellowship, attaining sobriety, making connections with great like-minded people that are on the same journey, right? They're all the same stories, okay? So at first we don't want to go back, right? At first we don't want to take that. We don't want to come back. We don't want to come down from Everest. We don't want to come back from our vacation. We don't want to come back to the ordinary world, right? So if some of you can identify with that, cool. I'm not making it hugely psychological. I'm making it quite easy. And this is then we refuse the journey back. We refuse coming home. So Bilbo Baggins, this is where they destroyed the ring, and they've got to get from that magical place, that other world, back home. And if you remember in the movie, the way that they did that was they had to have big birds come to carry them back, right? So the refusal of the call to come, which was step 3, is now the refusal to go back. Okay, so we were in the ordinary world and we didn't want to leave it. And now we've received this transcendent world where it's been a journey of excitement and fulfillment and self-discovery. And now we don't want to go back to the other world, right? So that's a process that I have seen that shows up continually in people's journeys, right? So the thing to be mindful of here is like, okay, at the top of Everest, it's very, very easy to reach spiritual enlightenment at the top of a mountain. The difficulty is bringing the message back into the valley, right? It's very easy to attain spiritual enlightenment at the top of a mountain. The difficulty is bringing it back to the valley. So you've went on your journey, you've achieved the lessons and the learnings, and now your job is to bring it back, and there's a refusal of that. Okay, so on the way back now, you're coming back. Now, this is where it gets a wee bit complicated. So, a family, let's say a family, husband, wife, couple of kids, right? And dad has been drinking too much, okay? So dad would naturally go to the pub straight after the office, have a couple of beers, grab a bottle of wine on the way home. First thing he does, doesn't even say hello to anybody, is open the bottle of wine, drinks the bottle of wine, blah, 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 right? So dad's numbing out through alcohol. Wife, I've had enough of this. If you don't take care of your drinking, we're going to have to separate. So husband says, right, okay, we'll do that. Now generally what happens is, the person that's got the challenge, the one that's got the challenge with the alcohol, they're the one that has to go and seek help. Okay, so dad goes away and seeks help for his alcoholism and starts to enter into a journey of sobriety, right? So he's in the journey of sobriety, he's attaining sobriety, but what starts to happen is that as he's wakening up, because he was numbing out through alcohol, he then starts to notice his wife's credit card bills. He then starts to notice that the children maybe perhaps weren't polishing their shoes before going to school, or indeed taking care of their homework. So all of a sudden, dad's became present and he's starting to show up. But now he's starting to see things that he wasn't paying attention to because he was oblivious to it through his behaviour surrounding alcohol. So those people, the wife, that desperately wanted the husband to stop drinking, right, is now faced with, oh, he's changed. We've got a changed person here, and my behaviours of overspending is now showing up. The kids are like that. They're now having to do their homework because dad's having a stricter view upon all this kind of stuff, and also having to polish their shoes. So this new guy, although he's healthier, happier, sorted himself out, he's more available, he's more spiritually available, he's more psychologically, he's more emotionally available to the family. The family now don't want the dad to have reached into this journey of sobriety because they're now not getting away with their behaviours. So they then unconsciously start to project the old character back onto you because life in a roundabout way was easier when they were there, okay? And I saw Jonathan Flemings come in, I don't know if he's watching, but this part in the process that I work with is very identified with the book of Job in the Bible. So if you want to explore it from a more spiritual realm, if you like, or a Christian realm, just have a wee dive into the book of Job. Okay, so this is where we refuse the call to come back, and then we start to have to bring what we've learned back to the people. Now, if we have a story or we've attained some sort of wisdom through our trekking in Nepal or sitting with Buddhists or the Dalai Lama for months on end, as I said, it's very easy to attain that, attain spiritual enlightenment. Good morning, how are you both? Are you well?
Well, thank you.
Brilliant, gorgeous morning, isn't it?
That's lovely.
Have a great day. Right, so now if we've then got a message to tell and we have to bring that message back to our community and to those around us, now unconsciously we've got a programme that we're going to get crucified, because if you look at any leaders of the past, right, big leaders like Jesus, or there was another dude, he got crucified for his beliefs as well. So somewhere, also, when somebody steps into a position of leadership, and you're a CEO or whatever, and you're there to lead people, you're taking a huge risk because you're stepping out into the arena where you're basically setting yourself up to be slaughtered. Okay, so unconsciously you know that, because you, before you left your journey for this unnatural world, this call to adventure that you took, you, like me, were probably one of those people that those that were in authority and that were leaders were, what does he know? Who does he think he is? Right, that's a pile of crap, right? So, if we have done that and we have projected that, then we have a belief that when we step into that role, that's exactly how people are going to think about us. So there's a real block here. So once we've learned, we've left the toxic relationship, we've left the abusive relationship, it's about learning to reintegrate back into a world where you have this newfound knowledge and where you can deliver that in an effective way without preaching to people that's going to be beneficial for people, right? I hope that makes sense. Now, what we then learn to do, it's like you go away on a retreat, you feel fantastic, you come back, and within a few days you're back to feeling garbage again. And that's where people just don't want to put in the hard work. This is where, when you reach a place of sobriety, this is where it's step 12 of the 12-step process. Once you have reached a spiritual awakening through working the steps, you deliver the message to other people that are suffering, okay? That's it. But what we fear is that we are going to be ridiculed for that which we have believed. Now, it's not about putting our opinions and ramming them down people's throats. But what we've really got to do here in order to be effective with that is we have to clear out the people, the places and the things, okay, that have us thinking in a toxic way. Because back in Ordinaryville, back when you were in an ordinary world, okay, before you took the call to adventure and change, etc, 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 right, the people, places and things that were involved in that had you held in substance misuse, that were smoking dope, that were drinking alcohol, and all of the above, right, they no longer serve you. So you have a responsibility that if you want to attain and achieve growth, we have to say goodbye to those people. So when we come back to the world, those people are wanting to bring us down. I'll give you a great example. This is when I started thinking about this, and it was probably 20 years ago, right? And I met a guy that I went to school with. Now, the guy that I went to school with was very, very overweight. Big rosy cheeks, kind of like a butcher type, Jolly Butcher type character, right? So because of that weight that he had carried, he had created a personality in order to manage that weight. He would have been a bit of a joker, he would have laughed at himself, he would have made jokes about himself. He was very jovial and fun, right? And this is where I noticed it. I was walking round Lanarkloch, funnily enough, and there he was walking towards me. And I'm looking at him and I'm going, I recognise that chap. Now, he's lost an enormous amount of weight. It could be like 10 stone, you know, that much of a difference. And he's walking towards me and I'm like, I recognise that guy. I recognise that guy. And I was like, that goodness, that's such and such I went to school with, right? But I could not compute. You know, it was like my brain was short-circuiting. My brain was short-circuiting as he was walking towards me because I was trying to find the programme in my brain that was him when he was heavy. And my brain's shorting out as he's walking towards me and he's now a lot thinner. And what I wanted to do was respond to him. I wanted to communicate with him towards his old personality. But obviously to have lost that amount of weight, it was boot camp. It wouldn't have been an easy job. He would have went through the roads of trials and tribulations. You don't just lose 10 stone simply. You know, you don't just get there without an inordinate amount of hard work. But also what had slipped away was he then had no longer any need for that jovial type of personality where he was this big kind of rosy-cheeked, jovial guy, and he was actually very astute, very grounded, and very straight down the line in a way, which was daunting because I was needing him to fulfill the programme of the past in order for me to feel safe. And I noticed that when I was communicating with him, that I felt threatened. But I didn't feel threatened by him. I felt threatened that my programme of understanding him as he used to be no longer filled that narrative, and that narrative that was going on inside my head was short-circuiting, and I was projecting and communicating, and I noticed that I was talking to him like I was a 14-year-old boy at school, in the way that the banter was, but we're now like 30 plus, you know. So, and I noticed that too. I noticed that when I meet people from the past, they attempt to communicate with me to the personality that I would have been running 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago. Now, as a wise man once said to me, you will always succumb to another person's projections. That is not your responsibility. It is, however, your responsibility when you act them out. So, getting to know yourself, know thyself, to thyself be true, without having any judgment on the external world, could be some helpful ways to bring yourself back to this world after learning the lessons that you have from your transcendent experience, whatever that may be, even simply put, being on holiday and coming back to reality. And we refuse it. Oh, I don't want to come home. But remember, on the way to the airport, you were having a tizzy. You didn't even want to go up to hang with this holiday, and you start an argument with the wife, or the wife starts an argument with you, and everybody's bawling, and it's a brar brawl and all that just before you get to the airport. Happy holidays. But that's what we go through. Why? Because the thing that will most evolve us as people, paradoxically, is that which we fear the most. And I did a whole series of vlogs on it, which is change. We all desire and want a happy ending, but few of us are willing to do the hard work that it takes in order to maintain your, and I'm saying this metaphorically, sobriety. When I use the term sobriety, I don't just mean from alcohol and substance and drugs. I mean sobriety from the old part of you, that old programme, that people-pleasing, destructive, toxic aspect of yourself. People will try and pull you back, and if you feel that you're getting pulled back into a programme that is destructive and toxic for you, you have to let it go. You have to think, and you have to put your serenity and your sobriety, metaphorically, before anything, because we get one crack at this. It's really, really short. And if you want to live it destructively, where you're living in fear and you're constantly waiting for a chap at the door, that's fine. That's okay. That's your shout. But if you want to live with serenity and peace and feel love for your partner and love for your fellow man and start to communicate from a place of harmony that's more in balance than a place that's completely out of kilter, then this is a roadmap that I never made. This roadmap up. I've just put my slant on it. This is the work of Carl Jung and the work of Joseph Campbell and the work of Dr. Bill from the 12-step process. It has quantifiable results in helping people, because Joseph Campbell studied hundreds, if not thousands, of mythology and fairy tales and movies, and every single screenplay follows these 12 steps. Ordinary world, call to adventure, refusing the call, meeting the mentor. I broke it down really simply. That happens when we go on holiday. That happens when we go towards a new job. We've all been in a position in a job where we get a new manager and we hear we're new managers starting on Monday and we all flip out. We all absolutely go bonkers. Oh, what's he going to be like? Is he going to be all right with manual leave? Is he going to honour that? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? And it's like, what a lot of wasted energy, because nobody's taught us to be okay with change. Right, I'm back at this tree just before I go. Look at that. I think that's the tree for the 12. Follow the 12. We've got 2 more steps to go. That ironically brings us up to the 1st of May, and I will have completed my month of vlogs and the challenge which I was set, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you then at the end all that I have learned and that which is stepped towards me as I have stepped out of my comfort zone and stretched my experiences and my fears. And as my dear friend Libby MacArthur said last night, if you managed to look at that, watch that, storytelling is how we learned. We sat round campfires and we told stories to one another, right? We don't learn through Google and all this modern technology. We learn through other people's stories. Why? Because we can all accept, we can all acknowledge it. And as my granny used to say, we're all Jock Tamson's bairns. When are we going to get that we're all together in this? We have all, and I'm going to be really, really crude here, right? So if psychologists that I know and doctors that I know and all the rest of them, this is me being authentic. Billy Connolly, a great Scottish comedian, says, show me a man in the audience that hasn't wiped his arse and looked at the colour of shite in the toilet paper. When are we going to get it that we identify with stories, we identify with people's trials and tribulations? Why? Because we've all went through them. We've all experienced the same thing. Now, if we keep tackling these challenges in the way that we have, and it leads us to a path of destruction, when are we going to accept that the way that we're doing things isn't working? Now, if you continue thinking life's happening to you, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. When are you going to step into that fellowship meeting, go to that weight loss class, go to that gym class? Because see, whatever it is, anything at all that you do that's going to bring about change, you are going to go through these 12 steps. Undoubtedly, 100%. So it's better to be forewarned, which is forearmed, that when you know that you're going to be going through it and you can be held accountable and coached so that you don't feel alone in the process, it's going to make the journey of change so much simpler. Thank you very, very much for listening. I hope you have a fantastic day, I really do. And God bless. And I look forward to talking to you tomorrow about the 11th stage and then the 12th. 12th step. Once you have achieved a spiritual awakening through working the 12-step process, you carry the message to other people who are suffering. We are all suffering. Every one of us are suffering, and we're all walking about pretending that it's okay. So many of us are deeply unhappy and struggling financially and with stress and with addiction. And really, if we keep focusing on the dark, we're going to see the dark. Let's jump in the light. Have a great day. God bless.